How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we're back with another FPL preseason video. And today we're continuing our Team Watch series. And up next is the Premier League champions for the 2020-21 season, Manchester City. We're going to be taking a look at all the players that I'm potentially interested in, ones that may not be as of interest or may need something to change in order for them to become viable FPL assets, as well as what transfer activity Man City are looking to do in this summer's transfer window. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Make sure to drop us a follow over on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with all transfer news. Been retweeting a bunch of that stuff over the past week or so, and make sure to check out our bio for our FPL Flames Recruits League as well. Give us a follow over on Twitch if we want to keep up to date when we go live for our preview and deadline streams throughout the season, and that is where we're going to be doing them all throughout the season, and we'll be doing them start of game week 1, so the week of Friday the 13th, when game week 1 kicks off between Brentford and Arsenal. So we'll be doing a preview stream on the Monday and a deadline stream on the Thursday, which will be broadcasted as a kind of rebroadcast over on YouTube when I put the VOD up there as well. So without further ado, let's talk about the prestigious offer from Fantasy Football Scout. We have partnered up with Fantasy Football Scout for this coming Fantasy Premier League season, and they're giving you an exclusive offer. Use the link down in the description to get 20% off your Fantasy Football Scout membership. It gives you access to the exclusive members area, which has new tools such as the 3-player comparison tool, as well as some old favorites such as the Rate My Team tool, the Season Ticker, and my personal favorite, the fully customizable stats tables, which you can share among other Fantasy Football Scout members, powered by Opta Stats. Use the link down in the description below to get 20% off your membership today. Sign up now. So with Man City, they were the best team in the league in terms of defense for clean sheets. They kept quite a few of them, and Ederson got the Golden Glove, and it was mainly down to the fact that Diaz and Stones struck up such a good partnership. Now, if we're looking at the first 4 game weeks, it's going to be a bit tricky to get some clean sheets in those. Spurs away right off the start. Norwich at home, that should be quite straightforward. Arsenal at home is always going to be tricky, even though Arsenal are not what they used to be in seasons gone by. And then Leicester, someone who demolished them in the opening few game weeks of last season, 5-2. Could prove to be a tricky prospect, as they often start off well. The nice thing about City, though, is that their defense does often get some bonus points if City play in the style that they did last season. 1-2-0 wins, clean sheet. John Stones, Cancelo, Diaz are among those 3 often getting involved. Now, on set pieces, Cancelo can, if he gets a short corner, can whip the ball in. Diaz and Stones are always good aerial threats. I mean, Diaz had the same number of shots inside the box as Cancelo did in the last 4 matches played each. And Diaz did quite well across the season. 12 bonus points. Stones was just behind him with 11, but Cancelo getting the most because of his chance creation as well. They did start to slowly lose the clean sheets over the last 4 matches that they all played, but that was mainly due to the fact that they were constantly, pushing all their eggs in the, the Champions League basket, as they had already won the league. Now, at XGI purposes, not really the, standout, but from a center back, 0.53 across 4 games. That means you're looking at every 8 games, they're scoring a goal. You're looking at across a whole season, they're scoring 4, maybe 5 goals, potentially. That's pretty darn good. And maybe they get an assist in there from a knockdown. That potentially could happen. And if you're getting, a shot every other game inside the box, it's typically a set piece. It could be a free header. And those are typically quite good, which is what you would want from a center back, especially if John Stones is priced. 5.5 million is something to definitely not shy away from. I think that could be a fantastic price. And I don't think Laporte is going to push him out of his position. Pep kind of knows that there are they are the 2 center backs that allowed them to keep the clean sheets that they did. And unless, European football is, on the horizon or going to be in the way, I think Stones and Diaz are just going to play every game. So I think it's just basically pick John Stones, to be honest. He seemed more threatening from set pieces. Cancelo as well can play right back, left back. Walker did very well for England. So I think Cancelo may start in at left back, although he was out of favor to Zinchenko, and could potentially be someone who is maybe having to win his place back. We'll have to see on that. 6 million, same price tag as the likes of Ben Chilwell over at Chelsea, as well as his teammate Diaz. Definitely a one to watch there in terms of City's defense. I think if you're going to go somewhere, I think Diaz is definitely the nailed on player. Stones, I think, is also nailed on as well for 0.5 cheaper and potentially slightly more aerial threat across an entire campaign. The other thing with Stones is that he has been injury prone in the past, so it's going to be something to potentially look at. But City's overall attack, I mean, 394 shots inside the box, only second to Liverpool, 107 big chances, 61.81 non-penalty XG. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous numbers in terms of attacking threat, and they're also keeping clean sheets as well. So I think this is the best of both worlds. I just think they're, the fixtures off the start, they play, I think it's all like the traditional big six in the first like 7 games, something like that, or like 5 out of the big 6, something like that, with Leicester involved, which is pretty difficult to get around, unfortunately for them. But that Norwich at home fixture is kind of the one that everyone's looking at, saying that could be the best possible captaincy shout for that game week. So we'll have to kind of see how that kind of pans out. Although in the past, Pookie did ruin their party a couple of seasons ago when they, I believe, Norwich won 3-2 or something in the same fixture, but then went on to get relegated. So and Liverpool ran away with the league. So it could be interesting, but I think City are definitely front runners, and especially with some potential signings that they could be doing the summer transfer window, could be quite difficult to pass up on once their fixtures start to roll on quite nicely for them. Now, with City's attack, I think you can get quite a variety of price points in your team. If you look at the likes of Phil Foden and Gundogan, they're in kind of that mid-price bracket. 7.5 million for Gundogan, 8 million for Foden. Ferran Torres is somebody who, if they don't sign a striker, could be the false 9 early on in the campaign, which would be interesting to see. He's at 7 million. And then Phil Foden, like I said, is at 8 million as well. So again, you get some mid prices. You get Mahrez, who's kind of in that awkward kind of price point. Not really a mid-price midfielder, not really a premium like a 10 million on up, kind of somewhere in the halfway house at 9 million. But I think if he gets a run of 10 games, he can be excellent. I mean, he's one of these guys, he's going to be frustrating. 2 points, 2 points, 1 point, 2 points, but then he'll get like 16 in one go. And if you can get that 16 on time, then you're looking not too bad. And again, there are obviously rotation risks as well. The only players I would say that are nailed is Ederson, De Bruyne, and Diaz for the first several games of the season. And if you look at De Bruyne, chances created, I mean, 19 in last 4 matches. I mean, that's just absolutely bonkers. 6 shots inside the box, same as amount of Mahrez and Foden. Typically because he gets more game time in most cases. And his XGI did pick up towards the end of the season, but then was abrupted due to injury, and then had to, slowly make his way back into the Euros for Belgium. He had that nasty knock with Antonio Rudiger, where he had to be subbed off in the final, which was unfortunate for them, and it was a pretty nasty head injury. But I'm glad to see that he's come back from that. Looks like he had a bit of an ankle knock as well, which was some ligament damage, so we're not sure how fit he's going to be to start the season, because Belgium did go a decent way into the tournament, but if he's had enough time to rest, I think he should be okay. He was a bit surprising for a price hike at 12 million. A lot of FPL managers thought he would have been a little bit less than that, but he's come in more expensive than Raheem Sterling, who's at 11 million. Would have liked to see his price a little bit lower, because I just think he's a non-option unless he starts to show some consistency and form for Man City. Definitely fantastic for England, arguably player of the tournament across all the teams that participated in the Euros, but I just think just lacking a bit something there when in a Man City shirt. Now, all of this obviously goes out the window with potential transfers and that sort of stuff, but in terms of City attackers, I think if you're going to go there, my bet would probably be on Mahrez, honestly. Maybe Ferran Torres if you're looking for a punt and you don't really want to invest too heavily. If you're going to go for a defender, Diaz is the shout there, and Stones. And I think attacking-wise, I think it's a wait-and-see. A one-off game against Norwich at home. I think obviously De Bruyne is probably the guy if you want to rotate somebody out, one of the big hitters maybe, or even Mahrez would probably be my guess. But again, we don't have much data to go off it as of yet. Most of the Man City team isn't back in training until the start of August. And then they have the Community Shield a week later or thereabouts. So we'll see what Pep plays in that. and get an idea of what his best 11 could be. I mean, by then they could have, a whole different, back line or something like that with, different fullbacks, maybe another center back. Who knows what City will do. City have the money to buy basically anyone, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But let's talk about some of the transfer rumors that are going around the Manchester City transfer news stories this summer. I'm actually going to start with the outs here. So Benjamin Mendy's been linked away from the club. Somebody who's been seen to, been very injury prone, not really in and around the team. It has been linked to a couple of clubs, but one most notably being Inter Milan. His transfer market value is around 20 million euros, which is 17.3 million pounds approximately. Again, these are all approximations as noted on the graphic. These are just estimations for transfer market in terms of a player's value. They could go for more, they could go for less, but we'll have to see what the clubs say if the transfers were to happen. He's somebody, like I said, left back. Cancelo's kind of taken his position. Zinchenko's kind of nailed down that spot as well. If that's the two left backs that Pep Guardiola wants to go in with for the season, he can definitely do so. At right back, he's got Walker, and then he also has cover with Cancelo there as well. Doesn't really have anyone else, though, to my recollection. I mean, Laporte can also kind of play left back as well. They basically just shift to a back three anyway when in possession. So I think there's not really too much there. So you kind of say Laporte / Zinchenko are kind of the left backs, and you can say that Cancelo / Walker are the right backs, but Cancelo can also play left back as well. Just depends on what Pep wants to do. But I think Mendy's is somebody who may just be surplus to requirements. Came in, a lot of bright talent, was fantastic. Before he came in over from the French league with Monaco. He was in that team with like Fabinho, Mbappe, all those sorts of guys. And yeah, it's just not been right for Mendy. He was good for the part of one FPL season, but then he had the bad knee injury, and then had injuries after injuries, and just hasn't really settled in as of yet. Still fairly young though, so I think there'll be teams looking to get him, such as Inter Milan. Angelino, someone who was on loan with RB Leipzig last season, has finalized his deal. He'll be going there on a full-time basis. Sergio Aguero, another man, a legend of the game for Man City, just a decade worth of just sheer brilliance from him. Came over from Atletico Madrid, and people are saying, well, who's this guy? Well, he's probably arguably has the most epic moment, or like, kind of just holy cow type moment in Premier League history, to be honest, because he had that last minute, the famous 93-20 time on the clock when he scored versus QPR to seal them the league after United had already beaten I believe it's Sunderland. I think they played at the Stadium of Light. I think they won 1-0 off a Rooney goal, and City were down 2-1. They end up equalizing it, and then Aguero, the whole Aguero moment. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, although Barcelona is in a pile of trouble in terms of their finances. So will he even play for Barcelona? Who knows? We'll have to see how that kind of pans out. But he's definitely leaving City. There's probably going to be a statue out of him in near the Etihad, and definitely goes down as top 3 all-time striker, guaranteed in the Premier League. So I think that is quite good. And he went out with a bang too. I had him captain in the last game of the week, so all the best wishes to Aguero. He was annoying when he played against United because he is quite good. So I'm glad to see potentially the back of him from a selfish United point of view. But if they get Harry Kane, who are moving on to the ends, that could be quite annoying. Now, Harry Kane is in FPL at 12.5 million, so a significant hike, and you have to really hamper your FPL teams if you want Kane, Fernandes, and Salah all in your teams while trying to spread, kind of thin everything out around elsewhere. And there's so many good budget strikers that I think Kane could put a dampering on. If he goes to City, boy, oh boy, I mean, you saw the number of chances and shots in the box that City get. I mean, if they just tell Kane, look, Kane, just go in the box and take all the shots that Raheem Sterling and whoever else miss inside the penalty area and score them, we're going to be golden. Now, his approximation is 103.7 million pounds. That's approximately 120 million euros. There are reports coming out today, although from not the greatest sources, saying 160 million pounds is the fee that will require Kane to be pulled away from Daniel Levy and Spurs, and he's going to be on 400k a week or something crazy like that. I mean, if City get the deal done, I mean, fair play to them, but boy, oh boy, is that going to be interesting. I just have to hope from a football point of view and a United point of view that he just kind of doesn't fit Pep's system. Although one of the players that Pep kind of wanted to get when he first came to City was Harry Kane. In terms of his when he first decided he wanted like an out-and-out striker, so be interesting to see. Although City won the league with basically not playing an out-and-out striker, so it'd be interesting to kind of see that. Grealish as well, somebody been linked to the likes of Manchester City. Apparently they have had bids turned down, whether you believe those reports or not. I think Aston Villa will want to keep Grealish. Maybe it's a situation kind of how Ronaldo was at United, where he wanted to go to Real Madrid. He showed his desire to go to Real Madrid, and then Alex Ferguson was like, look, give me one more year, we'll win the league, and then you can go do what you need to do. And that's exactly what he did. He stayed in an extra season and then went off and did his thing with Real Madrid and kind of scored 1 billion goals. And maybe that's Grealish's thing as well. Only recently signed a new deal as well. I think he has 4 years left on his contract, so it is a fairly lengthy deal. He's still only 25 or 26, so getting towards the prime years. And I think Grealish, it'd be interesting to see where Pep actually would play him in the system. Maybe a wide left position. Not really too sure. Maybe plays as one of the 8s in central midfield, kind of the left-hand side version of De Bruyne. That'd be interesting to see. I would definitely be inclined to watching how that would pan out. But I don't think Jack Grealish would take rotation nicely. Same with Harry Kane. I think they're these types of players that want to play game in, game out. And getting rotated, which Pep does to basically everyone except for Ederson and Diaz, basically. Even De Bruyne gets rotated from time to time. Could be quite interesting to see how that would pan out. And then lastly, Scott Carson, someone who saved the penalty, who I had in the last game week, or second last game week of the season, whenever it was. I had him when he saved the penalty, which was fantastic. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, he signed another deal for another year. Doesn't really impact FPL too much, although it might do. If you can get reports that he's playing for a game and he saves a penalty, that'd be fantastic if I could do that 2 years in a row. But yeah, that's it for the Man City transfers. Let me know if you think that Kane's going to sign down in the comments below. They're going to have to fork out a lot of money, but it would definitely be interesting. And we just have to hope that he flops there. We don't want him to do well. We want Jadon Sancho to do well if you're a United fan. But no, honestly, Kane would be fantastic, I think, for Man City. And it'd be very interesting to see how Pep utilizes him going into next season if he were to sign. And that is going to do it for our Team Watch edition for Manchester City. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn the notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it's readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter to keep up to date with all and any FPL news that we retweet over there. And join our Flames Recruit League as it is in the bio on Twitter. As well as drop us a follow over on Twitch so that you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams throughout the season. They're going to be quite fun, quite interactive, and they're always a blast. So make sure to check us out for that. And lastly, take advantage of the offer down below in the description from Fantasy Football Scout. It's 20% off if you use the link down in the description. It's going to help elevate your FPL game to the next level. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.